Hello guys, welcome to Far Fantasy Stormblood. Today we're going to have a versus mode on the mounts, and that we're going to see, looking at two mounts which are quite similar in the way they're designed, but see which one we think is actually better. Let me know at the end of this video if you agree with what I've stated, or if you think something else. Let's have it be interesting debate. Okay, so the first one, the two mounts we're going to look at is between the Kirin mount and the Ixion mount. So now the reason I've picked these two is because they're both horse-like, but they are legendary horses. So we're going to look at several different factors. We're going to look at ground movement, air movement. We're going to see how hard they are to obtain, the look of them, and the fifth one, there might be a fifth point, I might not. We shall see. Let's just go the win on this one, eh? Okay, so let's start with overall difficulty to get. Now the Kirin mount is quite simple in the fact all you need is 6 other ponies, and then you'll be rewarded with the mount. Now the good thing of this quest one is when you do get it, it actually allows you to see a little cutscene about you actually summoning this mount, which I quite like that. It's very different and a little part of the story to it, so it makes it a lot more interesting. The only downside is, although you can still do pony farms in the party finder, that's absolutely fine. Of course, the problem comes is, unless you're doing it with people who already have the pony mount or are just helping to get it out for you, then you'll still have a chance of, well, you may get outrolled all the time. And I've seen people who rolled a 98 to still be trumped with someone who rolled a 99. So just because you have a very high number doesn't mean you're guaranteed to get it. And of course, you have to do this 6 times. Sometimes you may be fortunate enough, like when the Leviathan pony dropped for me, I got it first time. I was very fortunate with that. But other times, like the Shiva mount, it took me over 80 goes of the duty to do it. And bear in mind, when I did this, I don't think it was at it was the unsynced version, so it's doing the fight over and over and over again. So thankfully now the unsynced process, it does mean the fights can be done very quickly, and you can put more DPS in the fight and say only have one healer or one tank, because you can just get away with it. So it makes it a little bit easier, but it's still a long waiting game. Now, the Ixion mount. This one becomes a little bit more tricky and a lot more time consuming, because this one is based on a fate. Now the patch has been updated since then, I do believe. Do not hold me to that, that's what I'm thinking. Because it used to be, I don't think bronze rank you'd get nothing for the fate, silver rank you'd get 1 horn, and then gold 2. But then last time I did the fate and I got gold rank, I got 6 horns. So I'm not going to do the fate ever again because I've got this map now, so why should I block the service to other people? So I don't know if getting the silver rank gets you 3 horns, and maybe bronze rank will still get you 1. Maybe they've done that now because say so many people wanted to get this mount but was really struggling, because it has a 72-hour open window. As soon as he spawns, you've got to wait at least 24 hours to see him again in the instance that you are in, and then you've got up to 72 hours he will spawn within that time. Now, of course, this is a long waiting time. Now, it's not too bad if perhaps if you don't have, I don't know, school, or you don't have work or any responsibilities, then fine, you can sit around quite happily and wait. But when you have got those things, it does mean that waiting around is a long, long time. Although it's more of a guarantee, because all you've got to do is get the horns, and if I'm right that the gold rank does get you 6, and if someone in your party pops the limit break, then as soon as he can, and no one's disconnecting, it's fine. But you can do this fate, and if there are disconnection issues because of people having their chocobos out or minions that causing too many rendering issues, that means that you could do the fate and actually not get anything. So there's a little heads up on that one. So although the Ixion mount is perhaps more frustrating that way, I'm going to say that it wins the one on account that it is easier to do, purely because it's not involved on regarding someone else. It purely means that you're the one having to wait around, rather than you doing a duty finder and then hoping that you get the highest roll. So although perhaps slightly more frustrating, I would say it's slightly more easier on that basis. Okay, so first one goes to Ixion. Now the next one we're going to look at is ground movement. So let's go somewhere a bit more space. I'm just going to jump off the edge of this cliff. Don't mind me. Probably get attacked by something on the way here as well. Right. Okay. Now, ground music wise, movement. What did I say music for? I meant movement. Has a nice typical horse run. Is there anything special about it? Not particularly. It has a nice hoof trot to it, and it does say have a majestic gait to it, but it's pretty bog standard when it comes to other horses. I will not say how the look of the thing in general, because that goes under something else. However, with the Ixion mount, my horse has run off the cliff. If you look at it, it has a much more enjoyable stance because, as I've said in a previous vid, it runs like a Shetland pony, and so because of that, it has this nice trot gait to it. That is, say, very amusing. But it just has a more fluid movement to it. But I say again, I'm talking about movement here, not the look of the mount itself. So for ground movement wise, again, this one goes to the Ixion mount purely because it's much more fun and it just feels a lot more natural and has a lot more movement to it, say the whole body, than just the legs itself it seems to focus on. Alright, so it's 2-0 to the Ixion. Next we could talk about flight movement. Through the trees. Okay, now the Kirin mount has a beautiful gold wing which came out in a later patch. So originally it couldn't fly, but now it can, and when it does, it shoots out gold wings and it can fly, and it's absolutely beautiful to watch. And even when the horse is just hovering, it looks nice because you have these wings rather than just, say, a horse hovering in midair, which might look a bit strange. And when it actually takes into flight, it shakes its head just like a horse would if it reared up. And it just feels really, really nice. So even though perhaps the ground movement is not so nice in my opinion, the flight movement is a lot nicer. Purely because this one actually has wings, and although they don't move like the Pegasus's wings, it's just nice to see that bit of movement on it like that. Whereas the Ixion mount, so again when he takes off, although his head rear is a bit more dramatic and a bit more, say, that looks a lot more powerful, in flight the movement is pretty much the same except when he glides. But other than that, there's nothing really different to change about it. So like a lot of the air mounts, there's nothing changes when it takes into flight. Except when the Kirin mount flies, it gets wings. It would have been kind of nice if something could have been done for something on this mount too, but I suppose maybe that'd be going against its origin, so maybe they couldn't. So for this one, the Kirin mount wins on flight movement. So it's 2-1. Next we're going to look at the overall look of the creature. So do some close-ups. Now the Kirin mount has the typical ethereal eyes, and as far as legend goes, I suppose yes, they have tried to capture it, but in my mind the Kirin mount they've drawn isn't so much the legend itself, but more like the Japanese sculptures you have sitting outside the palace. You can tell it's got scales rather than, say, what fur the horse would have. It has a lion/dragon appearance with a bit of horse thrown in as well. Similarly, ironically rather, both horses tend to have the same type tail where they jut up and then flare out. It has a lovely, say, sparkle that goes around the creature, and as well the hooves around them have a glow, much like its pony mounts before it, which all had the element around their hooves. This one, because he's a legendary mount, has this glorious sparkle as if he just came down from heaven itself. So very beautiful, and of course it's becoming the look of most legendary mounts, because then when they did the Firebird mount, again, same look with the yellows and the golds, and the same type, I do believe, look of majesticness coming, this glow coming off it. Now the Ixion mount, now this one to me is going to win it on looks because there's a lot more detail going on. For example, the horn has this glorious purple yet pinkish tint with then this electric yellowy gold striping running off it. The mane has a beautiful movement to it, so it looks fluffy as an afro. The tail has got lovely movement too, and you've got this lovely blue colouring, and because of the electricity running off it, which just makes the blue look sometimes purple, sometimes more blue. You've got then how these gold tassels hanging off around, say, its mane, you want to call it that. It has, when you look in the face, it has a look of an actual Shetland pony and a little bit of a donkey/goat going on with that little beard of his he's got there. The only thing I don't like about this mount is the colour of its eyes. I would rather have seen perhaps bright blue eyes on it, but maybe they tried that and maybe looked a bit too odd perhaps. Only because it tends to make it look a bit more fiercer than I think it should have done. But maybe that's the look they were going for, so who am I to complain against that? But on this one, to me, it's going to be the Ixion mount that purely wins it, because I think it has a lot more detail going on. And true, this mount was done a year or two after the Kirin mount. It shows you how much more effort they now, thank you Nugget, the effort they now put into the mounts these days, because they can do a lot more detail and make it look a lot more, say, stunning than the other ones originally were. So it's 3-1 to the Ixion mount. The last one we're going to do, bit weird one, is mount music, because each mount generally has their own theme. Now, whereas excuse me, the other mounts, like the other pony mounts, they had all the themes of their boss battles, and the same with all the bird mounts as well, and the same with now the wolf mounts. But the Kirin mount doesn't have that. So we're going to fly around and I'll be quiet for a little bit. Now, of course, the music is the Final Fantasy famous theme music, especially used in A Realm Reborn. So while you're waiting to push the menu button, it would play this. So it's very nice, because it's very classical Final Fantasy. And I really like that. It's very peaceful at the same time. So probably not the best theme if you're going to be, flying into battle, but it's very relaxing and very gorgeous. So especially if you're just hovering, then you can listen to that. And it is a really nice bit of music. And I really do enjoy this one. I think it's one of the better ones to listen to in general. Now the Ixion mount, and this is where it lets the ball drop, in my opinion, because if you listen, it is just the bog standard flying music that you get for any mount, which isn't, I'm not saying not special, but has nothing to really, to advertise, like a boss fight or a primal fight or anything like that. So because of that, it does seem a lot more boring, and compared to the Kirin mount, which actually has like something you can recognize, it would have been nice to have something special. I know technically it's a fate mount, so it didn't have anything likened to it, but maybe a bit of a battle music sort of thing would have been nice. Who knows, but it just seems it's the only thing in my mind, next to flight movement, that really lets it down, is the fact that this doesn't have any special music while flying. Okay guys, so there we go. Although the Kirin mount does have better music, and although it does have a better flight, it doesn't withhold, in my mind, up to the ground movement, the look, and also the easiness? I'm making up a word now, of actually obtaining the mount than the Ixion mount. So just obtaining a win by 3-2. In my mind, the Ixion mount is the better of the two. But hey guys, that's just my opinion. Let me know in the comments if you agree with me or if you don't. Interested to know your guys' views. So guys, have a good day. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, say, keep watching for more vids coming soon.